We live in a sick world. We live in a sick society. We have more money, wealth, and freedom than any nation in history, and yet 1 in 4 takes some form of antidepressants. We live in a society where you can make a living playing a video game, and yet people fill the streets and protest that there are no jobs. We live in a society where you can go to war only if you choose to, and yet people walk into schools and slaughter their classmates for no real reason. We live in a society where men marry beautiful women and yet struggle not to cheat. There is something wrong in us. We don't know what it is or how to discover it, but we know it is there. There is unrest in the minds of people we don't want to talk or even think about. We hear it in the cries of the brokenhearted, in the pleas of victims, and in the horrors of witnesses. We see it in our art and movies, and read it in our news articles. We know it, but we can't express it. So we blame violent media or video games. We blame the lack of parental involvement. We blame the absence of social economical privilege for certain classes. But all these are at best excuses for what is really wrong with us. We have risen generation after generation on the idea they are meaningless animals formed by chance, and are surprised when they act exactly like that. It is not my intent to deal with the scientific aspects of evolution in this video. Here are some resources that do that. I'm going to speak solely on the philosophical aspects and outcomes of atheistic evolution. The first assumption is chance is your creator. Time plus energy plus chance equals everything. But chance is a tricky word. There is no meaning in the word itself. It is a non-definable. The dictionary definition for the word chance is unknowable, unpredictable, with no cause. How can you define an unknowable, unpredictable thing that cannot be assigned a cause? That is horrible science. To have that part of your scientific theory is laughable, since the entire search of science is to make known the unknown, predict the outcomes, and find the source of things. Second assumption. We are all animals. Evolution states we all came from one source, a common ancestor. We are simply a developed animal. The first line of Richard Dawkins' Blind Watchmaker states, "We animals." Those two words sum up his entire worldview. In his mind, humans are no different from the fish, the birds, or the deer. There are natural consequences to this line of thought, that we are just animals. And that natural consequence is that people act like animals. Animals eat what they want, kill what they want, have sex with what they want. When another animal does not give up its food, its life, or its sexual parts, an animal takes them by force. All three actions are seen as crimes in our society. But why? If we be animals, what is wrong with rape? Should we not in fact encourage it? Is he strong enough to force himself? His offspring will also be strong. That is the thought of animals. Even your beloved little doggy will force himself on another dog when in heat. Why do you think we have to get our pets fixed? Why do you think that even some places have laws about it? It's because animals have no self-control. If we be nothing but animals, why do we punish people for acting like they are animals? Many would profoundly disagree with me on my conclusions, but tell me, how can you in one breath say man is nothing but a mammal, then in the next breath argue how humans are somehow different from animals? Either humans are different, always have been different, and always will be different, or they were never different and thus never will be different. We are either human, or we are rats with prettier nests. Third assumption, survival of the fittest. Many atheists would claim there is a difference between social Darwinism and biological Darwinism. In other words, that survival of the fittest does not apply to humans. They would argue with me, but that is what they are really saying. But you cannot accept one and deny the other. Moreover, if we are all animals, as Dawkins believes, then humans are no different than lions and thus fall under biological Darwinism. There is the thought that survival of the fittest does not apply within a species, but then how do you define a species? Not long ago, it was commonly believed that blacks and Asians were a subspecies and thus holding back the human race. That was the thought that Hitler had. Jews were evolutionarily weak and thus, for the greater good of humanity, must be destroyed. The founder of Planned Parenthood had similar beliefs towards blacks. The assumption of survival of the fittest, that the strong deserve to live and the weak must die, divides humanity automatically into warring factions. It labels anyone different from the dominant group as less than human through biological assumption, the very thing that atheists charge religion with doing.